Welcome to the garden. Today we're out in the strawberry patch, and we also have some lavender around here. So now's a great time to clear these out of any leaves that might be covering them. We're going to pull a whole bunch of weeds. No idea what these are, but we don't need them. And I kind of like things like dandelion, so I'm going to keep this for now, but I'm not going to let this produce those seeds. We're going to actually pluck the flower before it can do that. But for now, it's a lovely little draw for all the pollinators. And we might find stuff like this little strawberry who's actually above the ground. We know he's still alive because he's got a few pieces of green growth. This root should really be buried a little bit more. We'll bury it right up to that crown. So I'm just coming through with some gloves and gently raking away the leaves. That way we don't really damage the plants. And then I do like to crumple these leaves up and mulch a little bit. And I've also brought out some soil so we can fill in any low spots and just kind of even everything out. I'm going to be keeping these wild violets too. They kind of grow all over the place. They produce beautiful little flowers. So a few wildflowers in here besides our lavender and our strawberries. It's a gorgeous little bed. And of course these chives run all the way along. Strawberries are just starting to flower, so I really want to do this now before we get fruit. So I'll switch over to time lapse. We'll do this entire bed, and then I'll show you the end result. We started with a patch that was just in this little fenced-in area, but now that they've taken over the whole bed, I'm going to be modifying this fence. Rabbits really don't like to jump down into vulnerable areas like this, where they have to either jump back up or like run or leap onto the driveway. So by fencing off both ends, we should basically keep them out of this entire stretch, because they'll nibble on these strawberry leaves. It may not look drastically different from when we started, but a lot of these were actually buried under leaves, so we're giving them tons of sun so that now that they're flowering, we're going to get a whole bunch of fruit. Got a whole bunch of these little buds about to flower. Some of them are already producing flowers, and the lavender too, which was basically riddled with leaves, now is going to get tons of sun, get a whole bunch of new shoots. And I'm actually going to prune it right about now. We're just going to shape them up because some of them are huge and others are actually quite small. So the small ones we'll prune much more sparingly. Chives are starting to bloom. So are the peonies, and they always have ants on them. The ants just go nuts for these things. But I think our new fence is really actually quite effective. I've put it right up against that wall there. So this is really the only spot that the rabbits would jump down, but they'd be so vulnerable, they're not likely to do it. I haven't seen any damage on any of our strawberries. And look at all those flowers. That's all going to be fruit. So I'm just going to give them some compost tea. Make sure they get plenty of fertilizer. And then here's the other end of our fence. So really unlikely for a rabbit to make himself this vulnerable, sneaking around this fence right next to the road like this. So with just, a couple feet of chicken wire, we've protected basically this entire bed of strawberries and chives and lavender. I did come in and prune the lavender, so they're all roughly the same shape. We do have some small ones and some larger ones, but I've kind of just shaped them a little bit to keep them confined. Otherwise they get lanky and woody. But look at these beautiful chives. These are one of my favorite flowers, and look how prolific they are. These are about to burst into flower. Pretty soon the pollinators are just going to be everywhere. It's one of my favorite times of year. It's such a sight to behold, a 50-foot row of chive flowers. Just look at them all. They're just so thick. Oh, it's just incredible. And of course our strawberries, they look incredible. Big, beautiful blooms. We're going to get some delicious fruit this year. Much more than just that original patch down at the end. So what was just a little patch down at the end has become an entire bed of strawberries. These were all just runners and transplants, and now they're filling in wonderfully. And then at the very end, got all these beautiful little wild violets showing up. I should probably be pulling the dandelions now, since they're starting to lose their flowers and start producing seeds. We don't want those to spread. And then just past these lilac bushes, which are also just now starting to flower, we have our other end of the fence. This is literally the other piece of the fence that I just cut off. And check this out. For some reason, this wood is just the perfect pulp for these paper wasps. So they're always chewing this wood. They're just harvesting wood pulp for their nests. But so far, this fence has kept out all the rabbits. It actually fell over the other day. I think something, maybe like a deer even came through here and trampled it. But I'll just re-anchor that, and then we'll have fenced off here and at the other end. So this entire stretch is completely safe from rabbits. So it's really a helpful little trick to know that the rabbits won't easily jump down and be vulnerable in places like this. And all the bees flying around, you can see that little green one here. Can you see him buzzing around? These actually nest in tiny little holes. Little holes like this. There we go. I'm using my hat to cast a shadow. Gosh, that is beautiful. I think they call them solitary bees because they just nest in little holes like that by themselves in trees or in the hollow stalks of some plants. So it's a really cool little habitat for wildlife here. I hope you all stay tuned and see just how many strawberries we get this year. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.